I've been watching too many true crime things, and it's late at night, and Hollywood's getting sketchy during Corona. There's just so many homeless people and criminals out that I'm getting scared over noises. I think I need to work out more, build my confidence of being a man and not being scared of other men, like those noises just made me feel. How's that for an opener? How's that for revealing my insecurities? Pretty open. Not everyone would admit that. That's me connecting. Welcome to Unlicensed Therapy with me, your host, Ari Mannis. Today we have Josh Potter. If you don't know Josh Potter, you probably do. If you know me, you probably know him. If you don't, he's a funny comedian. He has his own podcast. He is on Your Mom's House podcast a lot. He tours. He does it all. Nice guy, friendly guy. A lot. I was editing through the podcast just now, actually. Probably marked 5 different places that I thought were funny. I put a green marker in Adobe Premiere, and I make little clips. Yeah, it's mostly me that does all the work for this. It's a lot of work. Part-time job. I'd say 5 to 10 hours a week I put into this podcast. Suck on that shit. Which is why, actually, they just made a little thing where you could become a member of YouTube channels. So if you're one of the... I think I have 2,500 YouTube subscribers now. Not a lot, but kind of a lot for me. I don't know. I'm cool with it. But if you're one of those 2,500 people, and I would say one of the 200 to 300 people that regularly watch this podcast, I think it's a common. Some people just watch my sketches. Some people just watch my podcast. Some people just watch my stand-up. Some people don't watch anything and subscribe to be nice or have watched previous episodes, whatever. If you're watching this, consider joining the YouTube channel. I know. Another podcast asking you for money? What? Did that sound like, did I sound like Tim Allen there? What? But hey, if you want to support, the option's there now. Send a little money my way, huh? Dude, what if I was a rich guy? I wonder if I'd be different. I'd buy a nicer car. I'm pretty sure. I'm sick of my old Prius. I'd buy a nicer car. If I was really rich, Tim Dillon makes $96,000 a year on a month on his Patreon. Last time I checked, $96,000. If I was, listen, I know I'm not Tim Dillon, but if I made that kind of money, I would buy a house. For sure, I'd be a homeowner. The van I'm building, I'd stop building it. I know at first I was excited to build it and work on myself. I just want it done now. I would pay someone way better than me, the dopest carpenter. I'd be like, finish this shit, deliver it to me in a week or 2 or however long it takes you. I'd do that. I'm not money driven. I've said it before. I'm not a materialistic guy, but if I had money, those are some things I would do. I'd buy a house, I'd buy a new car, and I'd finish my van. That's all I could think of, though. Not that much. Josh Potter, if you're not familiar with him, check out his clip right here.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to my home. Come on in. Here is where I don't make a mess. Now let's go into my room where quarantine depression mixed with my general sensibilities have combined for this mess. Here we go. I'll give you a little tour. Over here we have my bed. This is where I do my sex work. There's my television. This is how I watch television. If a lady were to come over, we just remove the television. Over here you can see a pile of clothing, some clean, some dirty. Underneath this pile there's a suitcase. Oh, my social security card is on here too. So some important things. This is where I keep my important things mixed with some garbage. Not important. I'm sure it was a bag of Xanax. This is what I like to call the danger zone, by the way, over here. This is where quarantine really took its toll, the real disaster, and that is the bathroom. A sink that has just an endless amount of beard trimmings, disaster zone to the max. This is terrible. Hopefully, it's not too painful for the nice woman to clean. See how it goes. I'm gonna chain smoke. I took a Xanax. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Welcome. Come on in. This is my room. I don't have any dressers. I don't know what to do with these. This is all. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have to do with it to get it organized. I don't know. We have the bathroom, which is a nightmare.
Okay.
Is this the worst ever? Very well could be. So this is the shower, the sink. So I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
How do I feel about someone in my space? Internally shaking and having heart palpitations. I don't let anyone ever see this, ever. This is like my deep, dark secrets. I'm having genuine anxiety attack about somebody experiencing my degenerate lifestyle. Every minute that goes by has been torturous, and I'm not even doing the cleaning, so I can't even imagine her experience at this point. Oh my gosh. Whereas many people spend quarantine cleaning, I didn't have that impulse, apparently. I had the impulse to go the other way. Oh, we have gone through probably a half a pack in the last half hour. Late August was the last time a professional had been in there. Oh boy. Oh my god, it's like a whole nother place. The sink is like a new sink. I didn't even think it was white under there. Oh my god. Look at that. That wasn't the color of the shower before, was it? Thank you so much, Cynthia. It looks fantastic.
You're welcome. So the payment?
The payment. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Sorry about you.
I'm doing something right now. What's going on?
The room is clean. It's fantastic. She's
Great.
wondering about payment. Was that not something that you took care of already?
Yeah, why would I pay for that? She cleaned your place.
Do you know perhaps how much something like this would cost?
I don't know the square footage. I don't know how dirty it was. I mean, I would say think of whatever number you're thinking of and then multiply it by 3 and then give her that. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
All right, bye.
Tom is gonna pay you,
Okay.
all right? Yeah.
Okay,
All
no
right.
worries.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
There he is. Josh Potter, pretty funny guy. Was excited to have him on the show. What else do I want to talk to you about? Melrose Podcast, this studio that me and my friend Abby Roberge created. We've been recording. I think I talked a little bit about it last time. We've gotten to record already some really big podcasts in here. Call Her Daddy was in here. Freakonomics, WBUR, a Spotify podcast used it this week. It's kind of cool. All these big podcasts are renting it when they need a studio, and theirs isn't available, I guess. We are also just starting. We have a podcast coming out with Harry Jowsey. Harry Jowsey, if you're not familiar with him, is a reality TV star, essentially, a YouTuber, a TikToker. If I had to put him in a confined description of a bubble or whatever, he was on the show Too Hot to Handle on Netflix. Millions of followers. He was the guest on Call Her Daddy when they rented the studio. And we ended up partnering with him and producing a podcast for him. So, you know, you're not going to hear too many people trying to send you away from my podcast to his. But hey, if you want a new podcast to check out the new podcast that Melrose Podcast is producing. It's called Tap In with Harry Jousey. And honestly, he's 22 years old. He's a buff, ripped, handsome Australian dude. So charming. Hot dude. He's basically a hot dude, but 22. And you probably hear that description. You're like, I don't want to listen to that guy do a podcast. 80% of his following is women. And you're probably thinking, why are you plugging this on your podcast? I just want to get to the Josh Potter part. But honestly, it's a good podcast. Like, he is a good host. He's hilarious. And I was sitting in the room for I think 2 out of the 4 episodes. And I was literally sitting there, and with his following and his charisma, I'm like, this is a good podcast we're producing. And I'm pretty proud to be producing it, believe it or not. So check out Tap In with Harry Jousey. Thanks for watching, and now enjoy the show.
I'm pretty sure that you have a way harder time getting through life than the average person, Ari. I don't know why anybody would listen to this. I know I won't.
Ari, you're it by single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to unlicensed therapy with Ari Mannis.
Have you ever done Comedy Time?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's the worst.
I don't even know what that is.
I say it because I know, just because I've done it.
Is it a
Tom
show?
did it like before he was anyone. It's they go to comedy clubs and record you and put out clips on their YouTube.
Oh.
And they've been doing this, for probably a decade
It's
or
called
more.
Comedy Time?
Comedy Time.
Was it out of, like, Appleton or something?
I'm not sure. They did Me at the Ice House. I know they've done Irvine. But, they get comics who are nobodies, and you just go, yeah, sure, film me, put up the clip.
Ugh.
I don't care. And then a year later, you're like, why did I agree to that?
I have, like, a decade-old clip on YouTube right now that I can't get off that I did that with, like, just at an open mic, like my 5th open mic ever or something like that.
Oh, just an open micer put it up?
The Buffalo News put it up, like my local paper. I don't even know what they were filming it for, but they put it on their YouTube page.
And have you tried
And it,
at
like,
all to get
swears
it
and
down
stuff.
or no?
I mean, I put in, like, I've asked YouTube to do it. I don't know if
But
I've
you haven't
done
hit up the Buffalo News.
It's like an inactive page. It's not the one, because
Got
it's
it.
not the one where they're firing off news stories.
Right.
Now. It's like I'm saying, like, shit and fuck and stuff like that on there, and I don't even know who's using it. It's just sitting there, but it's labeled
Right.
Buffalo News.
Yeah, and as you're gaining in popularity, the clip is gaining in
Yeah,
popularity.
people are like, this guy sucks, but it's like a fucking 11-year-old clip.
Yeah, that's so for me. I think I've told this story before, but I was 6 months into comedy, literally, hosting an open mic at the Ice House. Someone drops out of Comedy Time, and the booker is like, hey, do you have 10 minutes clean or 8 minutes clean? I had 5 minutes not clean, but I'm young and hungry and
Yeah.
overly confident, 22 years old. I'm like, of course, yeah, I could do 8 minutes clean. And then I go in there. I'm not ready at all. I had to put my shirt inside out because I had a logo on it. I had skateboarded that day, so I had holes in
They
the
were
shirt.
that, like, annoying about it? Like,
They were that annoying about it.
And they weren't going to pay you.
They paid me $35.
Oh,
I had a
my God.
prepubescent mustache. I go in there. I have a good set, actually, in the room. Somehow it was just a hot crowd. But I looked back at that clip even a year later, and I hated it.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
hated everything I did. And then I even reached out to the guy to take it down, and he goes, nope, you signed the contract. We paid you $35. I was like, you could have the $35 back. He's like, nope.
God, that fucking sucks. And they still have it up there. And they're just
Still up there.
They're banking on people getting traction, and then you get hits.
Oh,
off of it.
and it's worked for them.
and
Like
it's-
Tom's on there,
Yeah.
Fahim's on there, Eliza Schlesinger, Natasha Leggero. There's a lot of comics.
I'm surprised
that
they haven't been able to do stuff to like get it taken off.
you would think. I
You
think
know?
they legit signed a contract, and they're probably just like, fuck it.
See, I didn't even sign I guess I signed a release form, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like a contract. Like, they didn't pay me. So it's like, I want these fuckers to take it down. I'm so
The
annoyed by it.
Buffalo News.
Yeah.
It's at least worth emailing them and being like, hey, does anyone have access to this YouTube
What
channel?
is this
I want
old
it down.
YouTube channel that you don't use anymore, that you strictly used to ruin
I
my
doubt
life?
they care. It's probably one person that would be like, oh yeah, for sure. We'll work on that.
The lead singer of Trapped tried to like say that I suck at comedy by posting that video.
Wait, why? Wait, rewind. How did you get into it in the first place with the lead
I don't
singer
know. I
of
made fun of
Trapped?
Trapped for something, and they he responded, because he responds to everything. He's like a kind of a petty bitch. So like he responded, and all I did was make fun of him for his like head. Like, he was part of like
What was Trapped's hit?
Headstrong.
Oh,
Ironically.
I like that song.
But ironically,
I'll take you on.
I made fun of the size of his head. That's all I did. Like, he was getting like railroaded
a
for like.
comedian on a comedy podcast made fun of the lead singer
This
for
was
the
just
song
on
Headstrong.
Twitter. Yeah. This was just on
Oh,
Twitter. But I tweeted something like, he was getting dragged for like not believing in COVID and all that stuff. And all I did was say his head was big. And he took that and was like,
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah, this was like back in March. And he ran with it and just was like, this guy sucks at comedy, like searched my thing and everything like that. So, and then he posted that video. I'm like, this video's from 11 years ago. Sorry we don't all sing the same song for 20 years, you know?
Did you say that?
Yeah. And he was like, people were like, LOL. And then he was like, fuck
You
this
probably
guy.
have more
He
followers
blocked
than
me.
he does.
I was just under him at that point, but then I surpassed him like 2 weeks later. And then he blocked me.
That's your life goal. I just have to get past
Yeah, just
the
get me past
Headstrong guy.
Trapped.
That's too bad, you know? That was a good song back in the day.
Right? I
Too
had
bad
that
the guy's
album.
a
I mean, I went
douchebag.
to like 3 of those concerts back in the day.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
saw them live?
Oh,
You saw-
yeah. I used
so
to
you're-
work in
You're
radio.
a genuine fan.
I was. I mean, yeah. And then all I did was make fun of his dumb head. you
Turns
know?
out he's a sensitive bitch.
Yeah, he really is sensitive. Like, his people of his band have quit, and all in the
Damn.
last, like, COVID has, like, exposed him as being, like, a petty little dildo.
You'd think if you're anti-COVID, you wouldn't be sensitive, but
Well, he tries to, like, play. All those guys do that, where they're like, I'm so alpha, fuck, you know what I mean? They're like, and then they're just so weak. It's sad. It's like,
I think I'm on your side.
it's not all of them, but it's like you can see the certain ones that are just triggered by
Right.
getting like poked and prodded, and they're the ones who are like the most like, I'm so fucking alpha, like they overcompensate for it.
Yeah, he's probably a douchebag, but
Yeah.
right now I feel bad for him.
I feel sad for him.
Yeah, I feel sad for him. It's
Do you
like,
know what else I did? I did a hashtag cheer up Trapped, because I felt like I'm like, this guy is, because then he started getting into it with people who are replying to our arguments.
Your fans, yeah.
Yeah, and he's getting into it with like Fred 0673, and I'm like, this guy is just really sad. So I was like, we have to cheer up Trapped. So then I did a bunch of half-assed like compliments. I'm
Didn't
like,
work
Echoes
out.
was good.
He didn't unblock you.
No, he never did.
Damn.
Now they're off Twitter altogether. They got, because they defended pedophilia. Well, he did. He defended pedophilia.
What was his defense?
It was that guys can't be raped by older women or something like teenage kids.
He
like
defended
like a female,
like female teacher type pedophilia.
Yeah.
not-
That old like, I wouldn't be complaining or whatever. You know what I mean? That old trope that like dads do, where they're like, I wish that teacher taught me math or
It
whatever.
just doesn't seem like an argument, even if you feel that way, which I kind of maybe do a little bit.
Right,
It doesn't seem like an argument worth defending.
Right, it doesn't seem like a hill to die on.
Yeah,
by
yeah,
any means.
exactly.
Do I share the opinion like, hey, that'd be cool if when I was 13, would I have liked my math teacher to blow me? Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't need to go telling the
I'm
world.
not advocating it on Twitter.
I'm not going to stop my
I'll get
foot down.
canceled for it on this podcast, but not on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I'll apply it to myself. I'm not saying every 13-year-old should want their
Right.
math teacher to fuck them.
Man, my teacher, I remember, got accused for that, but I was like, it was the cool guys she blew. Like the
Right,
8th grade football players.
We had
got
one of
blown.
those too, yeah. Where it was like he was like captain of the football team. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, some guys get all the fucking.
There you
And he
go.
didn't even complain about it. It was just like a rumor.
But now he's a realtor. In my case, he's a realtor, and he's hit me up to go to my comedy show. So I'm like,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, I'm cooler than the football captain.
That's dope. Yeah, there's a couple of guys from my high school that were like super cool that have done that, where they're like, oh my God, have you met Joe Rogan? And you're like, you used to put me in a locker. Remember that? You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you about getting bullied.
I didn't get really bullied, but I did. There was guys that
You look like a guy that would get bullied.
No, for sure. And I would like initially like, I don't know, it was very early in my school days. I was lucky where I was like in the same school system. It was kind of small. But like in the beginning, I would kind of get bullied. But then I like would figure my way out of it. Like they start to like me after a couple of.
So you never got severely bullied?
Not severely.
You were just charming.
By high school, I was just friends with not friends with everybody, but like everyone's like, "What's up?" They wouldn't bother me.
So
it was
pretty
like,
chill high school then. Where'd you grow up?
Buffalo, New York.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, my high school, I bet you they were chill too, but I was always in my shell because I was insecure and scared of getting bullied. So I just stayed away from people.
Oh, that's
and kept
wild.
Quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my friends kind of stuck to ourselves, but like we were chill with everybody else. Like no one was inviting us to parties, but at the same time they weren't like, if they showed up, we're going to be assholes to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
when did you have your first kiss?
I was like 13, I think.
Dude, you were probably cooler than me.
I didn't lose my virginity until I was 22, though.
22 isn't crazy. It's not.
After
college. It's a little late, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's not embarrassingly late or weird. If you meet a 22-year-old virgin right now, you wouldn't be like, "What's wrong with you?"
I wish you would say that to the fucking girl I lost my virginity to, because she seemed to think it was pretty weird.
That's because she was promiscuous.
Yeah. No, she was definitely experienced.
We love those.
No, of course. Yeah. No, thank God she was such a whore, because she fucked my virgin ass. You know what I mean?
Did you feel like it was taking so long to lose your virginity that you're like, it's never going to happen.
Yes.
I'm going to be weird. I'm going to be a weirdo.
Once
I kind of like busted open popped the bubble, and then it was free game from there.
I spent like 4 years with a girl. It's still to this day my longest relationship of my life was in high school, dating a girl for 4 years.
My first one was 2 years. Yeah, longest one.
And she was like, anti doing it before marriage at that point. I think she subsequently succumbed to fucking someone before marriage post me.
College, probably.
Yeah, in college, right after me, I think, too.
Yeah.
And I found it so hard after that breakup to, like, figure out how to do it. I didn't even know how to do it with a girl I spent 4 years with.
Was she religious?
Yeah.
What's going on? And were you? Or
no.
Did you pretend to be?
No. She would. I would go to church with her or some shit. We'd go on like a Saturday afternoon to church or whatever.
The things horny teenagers will do.
Right. And then
make out with a chick.
And then I'd just be like fingering her after it. You know what I mean?
Go sit through a sermon to God that you don't believe in for hours, and you're like, all right, you want to make out now?
Like, what's so wild is like, I'm from the kind of a smaller town, so like this. I don't know if he's a priest or whatever he was at this church. He knew my grandma, so like I knew this guy was going to be chill. Like I already had like a history with this guy. I'm like, he did like 11-minute sermons. Like he would just be like, or what are they called? Homilies.
He's like, good to see you here. And you're like, yeah,
exactly. He knew what was up. He knew I was trying to get some pussy because I didn't come the rest of the times. But he would go so quick. He'd come into the room, like everyone would sit down. He'd come into the church,
just
or
like
whatever.
with those little boys. Sorry, easy, bad joke.
This guy though, this guy would be like the only religious dude that I would think was like cool to hang out with, because he would just come into the room. He wouldn't even have his like shit on. He'd be like putting it on as he was walking up. He'd get the like people singing. He'd be like, and then he'd just go and he'd start singing, and he'd blaze through his fucking homily, and the shit would be done in 20 minutes.
He was a modern priest who knew that no one wanted to be there.
Yes, and he would but he would say some poignant things, but he'd mail it in every day, every time. It was awesome.
It sounds cool, and it also sounds like, who's in charge over there? Why are they letting that guy?
I think he's in charge. It's a really small, tiny church, but yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, my very first girlfriend also was from a Catholic family. And she went to a Catholic all-girls school.
Oh my God, how did you meet her?
And I met her at a concert through a friend of mine who was dating her friend.
Was it like jars of
a
clay
Chaps
or
concert?
something?
No, I don't know. It was at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. I don't know if you even know what that is, but they do racetracks, and then they had like free concerts in the summer. But they had legitimate bands at the time. I think I saw Eminem there once, and well,
that's why I was curious what kind of band a Catholic girl would go check out.
She was religious Catholic, but she was still not too religious to go see a band that, a rock band.
Oh, okay,
so I don't remember what band it was, but we were at the concert. She actually came on to me. She got my number because I was too shy to talk to girls. So, I conversed with her. And then that night, she's like, hey, I got your number from Seth. That was my friend. I thought you were really cute. And then I'm like, cool, let's hang out. And so then we made out, making out probably for months. And I fingered her one time across my street from my parents' house in a grass field.
I thought you meant like across the street.
We just, because like my parents are strict, so we're looking for places to fool around, right?
I thought you meant all the way. You've reached all the way across the street to finger. I fingered her across the whole street.
Dude, probably did. We're literally like out in the open in a grass field with my house like down there. So we're like, oh, if we hear a car coming, we could walk out. And she would wear her Catholic schoolgirl skirts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. So I'm fingering her, and she starts crying. This is the first time I'm fingering her.
Oh my God.
She starts crying, and I'm like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she goes, "Hey, I'm not gonna do that with you. I love God and Jesus Christ, and He wouldn't approve of this. And if this is the type of girlfriend you want,
oh my
I'm not
God.
the girl for you." And of course, I'm like, "No, we don't need to do that. Like, I'm fine just making out." And then she's like, "Okay," and we start making out again. And then the next day, she's begging to be fingered. So these girls,
that's so
these
fucking
God-loving girls are. And then now she's like, I don't know, I'm not in touch with her anymore. But from my understanding, she's become quite the whore.
Oh, sure. They always flip the switch once they realize God is not real. Or
when you
something
trap
like that,
someone into that box and then they finally break out of that box,
it's an explosion.
It's worse. Yeah,
it's not a box. It's like a fucking pipe bomb.
I was never allowed to eat junk food as a kid. Now I eat more junk food than anyone I know.
See, I'm the opposite. Food. My mom kept bowls of candy on every table, and my friends would come over and they'd be oppressed like you, where they wouldn't have any candy, and they'd go crazy.
Yeah.
And she'd lose her mind. I'm like, why do you put the fucking bowls out then, you dumb idiot?
I think, but it's kind of smart because you're now.
I don't eat candy at all.
Yeah, that's what. So that's. I think that's a parenting technique. It's everything's okay in moderation. As long as they're not fat, let them eat candy, and then when they're an adult, they're going to eat better because of it.
I don't even like candy. I'm not even like, and I would resent my mom for like complaining about putting them out.
Any candy?
I mean, I like it, but
Twix?
It's like.
You don't like a good Twix bar?
It's good, but I'm not like I don't like seek them out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have an issue with food. Like I don't like eating food
at all.
I like going to like special meals or like Thanksgiving or like something like that. If it's like we're going to a cool restaurant or something, dope.
And you'll pig out or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I won't like. I mean, what's relative to me, I guess, pigging out. But like I hate like the idea that I have to eat 3 times a day. Like just to live. I think that's stupid.
You could eat once a day.
I do once a day. Yeah. Sometimes I do 0 times a day, but I fucking hate it. I just hate the idea of like I have to think of what to eat and then I have to like make it.
You don't get hungry though?
Yeah, but I just don't think of that as I don't know. It's weird. Like sometimes it's really like up until I feel.
Do you have an eating disorder?
I don't think so. I've never been diagnosed as such, but like I just.
Is it a weight thing? Like, are you conscious about your calories? Or
do not
something?
give a fuck about that at all.
Probably not an eating disorder. You're just
never gave a fuck about my weight. I just literally hate the task of like deciding what to eat and then. Like taking time to make it and do it and then like cleaning it up and stuff.
Well, maybe it's just you're a little man. You don't need that much food.
I really don't need that much. Yeah. I don't require much.
You could eat like a granola bar and be good for the day.
I've eaten like an avocado and like 2 eggs and I've been good for like 2 days. Yeah, that's it. And that's fine. You know what I mean? Or I've eaten like dog shit. Like I'll eat like a fucking taco or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Have you ever been fed dog food?
I've eaten it just like out of like, I dare you.
Curiosity?
Yeah.
Now they make this dog food that looks just like people food.
Why? To trick the dogs?
But they'll eat anything, so it doesn't matter. You don't need to trick their dogs.
Yeah.
But so my brother tricked me, and he goes, "Hey, have this piece of candy," and it looks just like candy.
Why?
And I ate it, and it was stomachable. I wasn't good. I wouldn't eat it again, but it was like, okay, this is high quality dog food. And then he laughed. And
it's all just horses, right? Their food?
I don't know. Yeah, rabbit toenails. I don't know.
What do they fucking put in there? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of cartilage.
It's like
I
think there's some dogs probably out there that live with rich girls right in this neighborhood probably that are like eating better than I do on a daily basis.
Oh, there is right across from the Whole Foods on Fairfax. There is an organic dog food store.
Yeah.
And it's literally $10 a meal to feed these dogs. Like, they're eating high quality, and it goes bad too. It's fresh meats, so you could only have it for a few days. And I'm like, what rich fuck spoils their dog like
How many
this?
tents are outside of the organic dog food store? Just like homeless people everywhere around here, and there's an organic dog food store.
Yeah.
It's just a
For
wild.
real. That would
like,
probably kill to eat that food. It's so gross. And I love dogs.
Yeah.
I've had a dog, and I love them. And maybe, for all I know, maybe that really does add a year to their life. I don't know. But
Right.
it still grosses me out.
I can't even imagine paying that much money for dog food.
Buying meat, like
I wouldn't give
fresh
my
meat.
child the meal that costs $10 for like at least the first 5 years
Yeah,
of its
I'm
life.
buying Kroger brand food for my kid.
Yeah.
You think I'm buying the name brand grass-fed organic shit?
Nah.
Kids their bodies are just moving really fast. They could churn through anything. They're like Michael Phelps.
Yeah, they're like made of cartilage. They can bend around. They can fall.
They don't
can
break their
hit their
bones,
heads.
yeah.
They don't do anything, and they can run around forever. They have all the energy in the world. They need some GMOs to like slow down. I think
It makes sense. When did you start comedy?
I started in 2008.
How old were you?
I was 22 when I started.
Did you always want to do it?
I always like wanted to do something in the realm of comedy. I started in radio before comedy, and I was doing like bits and stuff like that.
22 is young even for radio, I feel like.
Yeah,
That's
I
just a
mean,
young age to
I was
be-
16 when I started radio, so that was like
For money? At
for
16?
yeah. When I started as an intern at 15/16, and then my first paycheck was when I was 16 though, but it was like for $25. Like I
Still
was like
cool.
2 hours.
You still must have been stoked.
Yeah, I was so stoked. I was on the radio when sure, it was in the overnight between like, midnight and 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving or
So
something.
have you ever had a shitty job then, or have you only had cool jobs?
Yeah, I worked for my dad's restaurant. I was a busboy, and then I worked for like a couple other fast food places as a dishwasher when I was like 14, 15. And I did
You're a grinder.
when I moved to LA, I had an office job for like 6 months. That was my first ever like real office job, and I felt like super kind of cool about it. Like I don't know, it was just I couldn't believe I got it. 'Cause I
Any
dropped out
job
of college
exciting
or
for
whatever.
like a month?
It was, and I only did it for 6 months, but it was like, I'm going to an office building. This is wild. I was in a skyscraper downtown.
And doing comedy at night.
Yeah. And it was like, at first I was like, hey, at least I know that I can do this. Get a job.
Wait, why'd you drop out of college?
Because I was doing radio and I just didn't want to.
You're like,
I was like,
need
what am I
this.
getting a communications degree
Yeah,
for?
what's
I
it
had
gonna help me?
interns that were like in my department that were like seniors, and I was a freshman. So I was like, I'm wasting my time going to school, killing myself for what? And I just freaked out and dropped out. Was it the best move? I don't know, but I
think
should have
so.
just went for
I
something
think in
else.
retrospect
I should have
it
just
was.
never went at all. Is really because I had immense debt still from just sticking
From that
around.
one semester?
I went
Or
for
what?
3 years.
Oh, in that case, dropping out seems crazy to me.
And I
because-
did the minimum too. Like I did like 3 courses a semester, so like it would have taken me like 8 years to graduate college. Pretty
Oh,
much.
God.
Like,
So
I
really,
was-
you went to about half.
yeah, I went to
Yeah.
like night school for real though. Like you know what I mean? Like I did undergrad stuff, but I basically was like I was going to night school.
So you're just like, I don't want this stress anymore. What's the point? A communications degree is pointless. And finally, you're just like, enough's enough.
I wish someone told me that like before I applied or whatever.
I
but
knew it, but my parents really pressured me into going to college.
I just thought it was what everyone did, and I didn't
It is,
understand
yeah.
money. And I thought like naturally you go to college and then you have a degree that will pay for that college. I just thought that's how the world worked.
Right, because that's what they tell you.
Yeah, that's what
growing
they
up.
did. Yeah, they
if
sold
you want
it
a
to
good job, you have to. It was like those Dare ads, but for college. Your whole life growing
Yeah.
up, you need to go to college and get a good job. That's what people do. If you don't go to college, you're going to be working at McDonald's.
Right.
And I'm like,
Do you remember when people would be like, you don't want to be a garbage man? I look at that now, I go, God, man, garbage man, they get like a pension. They have like
they're blue collar workers.
Yeah.
Those are men.
They're
they
in
make good money.
unions.
Most of them are married. I'm not married.
Yeah, a garbage man can buy like 2 trucks, a fucking house.
own houses,
yeah,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people that went to college that are like living at home still in their 30s. You know
I'd
what
like
I
to
mean?
interview a garbage man. I bet you they find cool shit that they keep too.
I don't know if
That's
they're
the
allowed
theory.
to. I think it's like part of their like thing where they're like,
That wouldn't stop me.
because you're not allowed to look into people's trash and shit like that. It's
Really?
like a felony. Yeah.
Oh yeah, bummer.
Yeah, so I
Because
think they have to sign some code of ethics.
there was a phase where my dad would go around. My parents live in a very rich neighborhood, And there was a phase my dad had for like a year where he would go around and go through people's garbage and find like cool shit. And he sounds like a hoarder, and maybe he is a little bit, but he would come back and he'd be like, look, I found this toaster oven. It works fine. And he'd find weird shit like that.
That's wild. My mom does that kind of shit, but she's definitely a hoarder. Like, she's 100% a hoarder. She like loves garage sales and shit like that. And then she's always claiming she's going to have her own garage sale, and it never comes to fruition.
Like every 5 years, me and my two brothers will go to my parents' house, and when they're gone or something, we'll throw a bunch of shit out. And they're always thankful that we do it.
You just do it?
Yeah, we just do it. We literally go there because it's things we know they're not. They literally last time we found 5 giant jars of pickles that were like 3 years expired in their fridge. So it's half of it's the kitchen. They have literally just a giant pantry of expired food. We're like, why do you keep this? And they're like, oh, it's still good. We'll eat it. I'm like, you're not going to eat it. You have 10 bags of this shit.
I couldn't imagine I mean, I love my parents, but I couldn't give 2 shits what they have in their houses.
Well, the problem is, like, especially during Corona, I'll go home for a week to their house, and I'm staying there, and I'm like, how do you live like this? It's almost for myself. So when I go there, I'm not living in their
That must be nice to have,
junk.
like, a place to go. My parents live across the country, so like even if I wanted to see them, which I don't necessarily, I would. I couldn't. You know what I mean? So it's been weird in Corona. It's like I'm in a space station, and I'm far away from like everyone I know.
For a while, my mom wouldn't see me until she got the vaccine. Because I'm like the lead singer of Trapped. I'm an alpha anti-masker. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that the mask. I mean, the mask, like they say, helps, but I don't think it like stops coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? So like,
but there's certain
But
people,
your mom wouldn't let you come just because of the mask situation.
Well, she just knows that I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I see.
I'm going around doing stand-up and podcasts, and I'm whatever you want to think about me. Maybe I'm a murderer, maybe I'm a normal person, but
I've stopped giving a shit about people's grandmas, by the way. And you know what I'm saying?
Too.
Like I've gotten to the point, like I have been cautious. Like I just started this podcast, so like, and I work in a studio where like I have to like care about other people and stuff like that. So I've been like staying not quarantined, but isolated essentially. I'm not like doing anything extra. I did a little traveling like to go do shows and stuff, but I've been keeping to myself. But at the end of the day, like I'm done giving a fuck.
I'm done giving a fuck.
I don't care who dies. I don't care who gets it.
I've always sadly had that selfish attitude. I'm like, listen, if you are, it's not that I want people to die, but if you're old or have a predisposed position to where you have a good chance of dying of COVID, then you should quarantine. Yeah. You should stay in the house. You shouldn't make the whole world quarantine for you.
I said that. I've been saying that from the beginning too, but I kind of kept it where I was like, okay, I get why they're like saying this because like some people are dumb and they're going to do dumb shit, and I would like rationalize it. But then, now it's fucking January 2021, February 2021. I'm done. I don't care who dies. I do not give a fuck.
Herd immunity, baby.
I see like so-and-so gets COVID. I'm like, fine. Now I feel like I haven't gotten it yet. And I'm like, do I get an award for not getting it? Because I feel like I've suffered just as much as the people.
That's the weird thing about me, too. I've been the most outward, and I haven't gotten it.
Because some people who have gotten it, now they're off gallivanting about the world, and it's like, I'm still staying inside trying to do your, like, cautious bullshit, and my life blows doing this, and I'm seeing like COVID people are like, we're allowed to have COVID concerts. Like if you already had it, you can come to this concert.
I didn't see that. That's a thing.
I mean, that's in Europe or whatever, but like it's happening in the world,
And the other thing is you're never going to make everyone happy. So even if you've had the vaccine and you've had COVID, the CDC still says, oh, you could still spread it, and you'll still piss people off if you do it.
Yeah.
Because I always...
Well, by then, if there are people still pissed off, those people are just unhappy, and they loved this. Because now
100%.
Now everyone's unhappy, and I'm at home with my cat, and I fucking get to sit on my computer and go on Etsy and shit like that. Like that, those are those people. So they're a minority. Fuck them. I don't care about them at all. But like the general society and their sense on it, I think I've turned the corner now, like I said, where I don't even fucking care anymore who dies and who gets it and anything like that. It's like, you're all getting it. Everyone's gotten it from left to right to up to down. So it's fucking, I'm the good one. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, give me a fucking medal or some shit if you're going to make it such a big deal.
That'd be cool if that's what they should have done all along. If you don't get it for the whole time, we're going to give you $1,000 at the
Yeah, they
end
should
or
have paid
something
people
like
to
that.
not get it.
Yeah.
Or they should, because they're
Money is a motivator. And then, too, the people who did get it, most of them would probably try and suck it up and not get tested because they want that $1,000.
Sure, of course.
And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, we have a lot less deaths.
Well, you'd have to get tested to probably get it, right? Like, they would make it like you have
at
to
the
get
end.
I see.
Yeah, or I don't know. I don't know how it would work because it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a thing, and we just made it up now, so we haven't sussed out all the details.
I will pay everyone who's listening to this $1. No, I won't.
I mean, I've been tested like 7 times, 8 times.
To go on the road, or why do you get tested
both
that many times?
Coming off the road, going on the road, and like...
Or to go back in the office,
and to
studio.
go back into the studio,
Yeah.
like if someone around the studio or a guest has it or something like that, like to stay, to keep everyone safe, they test everyone then, And so it's like... Yeah, I'm still haven't gotten it. But I'm one of those people that's like, I feel like I got it before it was a thing. Like in February.
I thought that too, but then I got the antibody test.
And I didn't get, that's
negative.
the thing, the antibody test said negative. But I mean, like, maybe I got a bullshit antibody test because I got it, like, back in fucking last April.
Yeah, I got it right when they came out.
When they're like, oh, those ones were shit. Like, remember how they had, like, a group of testings where they were like, all those tests kind of blow, actually, sorry.
Yeah, sorry you paid $85 and spent half your day waiting in line to take a test.
Yeah, so that's what makes me wonder. Maybe I still did have it, but even if I did, they say I could get it again or whatever. And now I'm just like, things are opening and stuff, but I still feel I've been so isolated. I don't remember how to like reacclimate myself to doing things now.
I think it's going to, even when things are fully back open, people are going to be less in each other's space. You know what I mean? People are going to be weird for a while.
It is. Have you done any clubs or anything like
I did,
like inside clubs?
Yeah, I did Des Moines last weekend.
Yeah.
But it was 40% capacity, but it was still fun.
Was it? Yeah, they're fun. Like even if they're still.
Yeah.
But like, wasn't it kind of weird to see groups of people together? Like I don't know if you've seen them or not, but like it was weird for me. I was just like, but you get over it quickly.
I was
but
excited about it.
I was excited too, of course. I wasn't like unhappy to see it, but it was a weird feeling though to just be like, whoa, look at how many people are inside a building at once.
Especially coming from LA.
Yeah.
Where all these people don't care. I remember there was one table, there was 100 whatever people in the room. One table is wearing masks. and I just started chanting, making the whole crowd chant for them to take off their mask as a joke, like peer pressure.
Yeah.
But then, in the middle of the show, their food comes, and they take off their mask to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how does this make any sense to you guys to wear your mask the whole show so I can't see if you're laughing or not, and then you take them off to eat?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's just the dumbest liberal shit.
Some of the shit that I went to was like they all had to wear masks the whole time. Unless they were eating or drinking, but it's like...
Unless you're eating or drinking. So
it's like, but people would keep them on and take them off, and it was just kind of weird, but like, I don't even care about that shit. It's like, do whatever you fucking want with your mask. I don't fucking care. It's just like, open the fucking shit up again. Because why is one thing open, this isn't? I saw a thing, a school today here in LA had like children on the playground or something or congregating at a school, and someone like took pictures and like tattled on them. And because schools aren't supposed to be open, turns out they were shooting an Apple commercial. So it's like, I'm sure all those kids got tested or whatever, but still, it's like, it looks the same. It's like, we can shoot an Apple commercial pretending there's school happening.
But
we can't, let's not pay for tests so kids can actually go to school.
I hope Apple deactivated their iTunes.
Yeah, right there. They put U2 albums on all their computers in the school.
What are your thoughts on the whole GameStop and how they stopped Robinhood stopping people from buying it? I
think it's like, obviously, I'm on the side of it's bullshit and like they're fucking thieves and all that kind of shit. But like, what are we gonna do about it? Like, we're not gonna fucking do anything. Like, we're just gonna roll over and let them pat our bellies.
Yeah, like stocks are that whole thing is basically adult gambling.
Yeah.
So it's like, who cares?
I like how you say adult gambling, like as if gambling is for children.
Yeah, good point. Maybe like smart people gambling.
It's like suit gambling.
Suit gambling, yeah.
For sure, 100%. But they rig it though. It's fucking bullshit. Like at least that's why I said like sports gambling. I love sports gambling, and it's way more pure than the stock market. It seems to me, like the rigged game that they put up there. Do
you follow sports heavily?
Yeah. I love sports.
I don't follow, but I bet on the Dustin Poirier fight versus Conor. Made a few $100.
That's the one shit that I don't follow is like fighting stuff, like combat sports. And I just don't. I don't know why. I just don't. It's not like I hate it or it's just kind of like on the outside to me. But when there's a big one like that, I'll bet on it. And Rob Eiler is a buddy of mine. He bets on a bunch of shit too. He fucking sends me this lock on it was Roundtree. Some guy named Roundtree was fighting.
Okay.
I don't know either. And so it was like he's going to win within 2 or knock him out within 2 rounds or something like that. It's like, it's a lock. Everyone's saying. So I bet on that. And of course it's like, I'm watching it. I don't even know what I'm watching. And I'm like, did we get it? And it's like, no, it's fucking didn't happen. I was like, motherfucker, I'm not betting on this.
How much did you bet?
I put only like $50 on it. It wasn't anything
not too
crazy.
bad.
But yeah, I mean, don't say lock to me.
Nothing's on lock in betting. If it was on lock, the house never loses.
I know locks, but I don't know fighting, so it's like I couldn't judge it for myself. But
you just trusted this guy, and now you know.
This
guy doesn't know shit about fighting.
No, he admitted he didn't either, but he was like, it's passed along for me. But I was like, all right, that's one strike. I put it down. Yeah.
I heard from a kung fu master.
That's how they always go, though. I don't know. You don't follow sports, so you don't gamble
not
at all
too
on
much.
Sports either. But it's always like, I know a guy that's a security guard for the fucking stadium, and he said that someone pulled a fire alarm in their hotel last night. So stuff like that.
Yeah, I followed baseball in the late 90s.
Okay.
When I was young, I was really into it, like Padres 98.
Yeah. Padres are like dope again. I don't know. You should get back
apparently,
into it. Yeah, you got to get back into it.
Apparently they're going to be good, but I think they're cursed, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to be fucking in the World Series. I think the Dodgers are.
You think they're going to be better than the Dodgers?
Yeah, they are. I really do. I really think like the Dodgers are so good.
Maybe this is the year I get back into it.
They kind of exported some really good players too, like that were kind of like not core guys, but I found them to be like the heart. They lost a few guys, but yeah, the Padres.
Do the Padres have a heart though, or do they just have a good team?
Dude, they've got like one of the biggest superstars in the world right now.
Who?
Fernando Tatis Jr.
What position's he?
I'm just learning baseball. Like I'm like 2 years deep. He's like I think a third baseman or a shortstop. I believe he's a shortstop. One of the two. But he's like electric. He hits home runs. He's he's on the cover of this year's MLB The Show. He's like
MLB The Show. Is that a video game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just announced he's on the cover and
in a Padres uniform.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's the last year he hit 4 home runs on a team, and they like were mad that he was like almost like participation trophy shit. Like they were like, you're spoiling the game.
Oh, he had a bad season.
He was amazing, and they were like up 7-2 or something like that, and it was like the 8th inning.
Oh, I did hear about that. He hit a home run, and they're like, that's bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, and he like flipped his bat and was like dancing and shit and like running around, and they were like, that's bad sportsmanship and shit.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Dumbest shit ever.
Sportsmanship in baseball.
But it made him like a folk hero, and everyone's like, fuck yeah. All the real fans like it. Do you know what I mean? All the dork fans fucking think it's stupid, you know?
Sportsmanship.
Yeah, there's fucking sports writers.
What is this?
Douches.
Golf or I don't even know. What's
fucking even in golf.
What's the most sportsman sport?
Like one with a lot of decorum.
Yeah.
Would probably be golf.
Yeah.
But then baseball's all sanctimonious about their fucking bullshit decorum too. I think it's stupid.
I guess the least sportsman sport is hockey.
Yes, but they have their dumb bullshit heritage rules too that you're like, fuck off with that. And they try to ruin more of their heritage, I guess, because they're trying to get rid of fighting and. Yeah,
to be honest, I'm still surprised that fighting is allowed in hockey. It's exciting, I get it, got views, but has nothing to do with the game of hockey. So
it has things. I don't want to like bore you with trying to
let's
explain it, but it's like it's a
I like it, by the way.
It's like a momentum
shifter.
It doesn't have anything to do with the scoring or anything like that, but it has to do with like the momentum or like basically beating the spirit of another team too.
But
like
that's
it's symbolic.
All theory.
Sure, of course.
And also if you get beat up, that wouldn't it wouldn't really beat my spirit. It would motivate. We gotta beat them. Fuck
that could happen
guys.
too, but that's a variable as well. And it's also like a way to like police kind of things. Like you see a lot of superstars today in hockey get drilled like with dirty hits or like get injured by dirty hits and things like that. These guys would make sure that you didn't fuck with your superstars.
I was listening to a podcast. Maybe you know the story. They used to have that. I know this position's kind of dead in hockey, but they used to have teams would just have these big guys.
Yeah, the enforcer.
Yeah, the enforcers that weren't that good. They would just basically go and start fights.
Yeah, usually
and
a fourth line winger or center or like a defenseman or something like that. I guess it wasn't really a defenseman. Usually like a winger or something.
It was just some big guy who wasn't that good of a hockey player.
Right, you'd call him up when you needed to like, because you knew there was a pest on the other team, or you knew they were going to be like a really physical team.
And that was a real position on NHL hockey teams.
It still kind of is.
Oh, okay. I heard it wasn't anymore. But
well, I mean, it's like becoming minimized. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as like you can't go to a team and be like, he's the enforcer. Like, usually they can do something else now.
But
too,
back then they had that.
Right.
And there was a year where, as a joke on the radio, these guys were like, let's get the enforcer in the All-Star game.
Oh, John Scott.
And they get him in the game, and then the team fired him from the team.
Former Buffalo Sabre,
Yeah, they didn't want him to be they didn't want him to make a joke out of the NHL.
Well, the team didn't fire him then. He got cut I don't know if he got cut right before then or if it was after then.
The way he explained on the podcast, he got
cut
cut because of politics, because they were mad that he was doing this.
Yeah.
But he goes to the All-Star game, and he ended up having like a great game.
He had a goal in it.
I think he had a few goals.
Yeah. He was like the star of it.
Yeah.
I think he got MVP of it or something like that, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he got cut before it because of that shit, huh? Fuck.
It was such an interesting story. They should make a
troll.
movie about that.
They should. You're right.
Yeah.
That was like a real troll job, though, for sure. Like, I love shit like that. That was like the GameStop thing.
But he liked it. And when he got trolled, like he was a good sport about it. He was at first. He was like, "Oh, they're gonna make fun of me," but then he's like, "No, it'll be fun. I'm gonna be."
But
in
at the same
All-Star
time,
game.
he's like, "Yeah." And who gives a fuck about an All-Star game? The Pro Bowl's a bullshit thing.
Yeah.
The All-Star games are supposed to be fun.
They're supposed to be fun. Yeah.
So, and what is the definition of an All-Star? Like, yeah, the most goals, blah blah blah. But like, your biggest personalities and the brightest stars of your league should be there, so that you can get more fans and you can engage in more.
And every team has to have someone, I think. So sometimes like a really dog shit team who doesn't have any real All-Stars, someone will still be on the All-Star team.
That's interesting. Well, I know not for all sports. I don't know if
or for baseball, that's how it was. Because I remember growing up, the Padres were horrible, but there'd still be one Padre in the All-Star game.
Because I could have swore the Bills, there would be some years where they had 0 Pro Bowlers, I could think. Or they would get just the punter.
Must not be for every sport.
Maybe it would be like a special teams guy or something. But
San Diego's cursed. Nate Kading, great kicker, would always choke.
Yeah, well, San Diego, the Chargers were fucking way cursed, for sure.
Yeah, and Padres have never won a World Series. They've been in twice.
Never, that's true. Swept by the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're fucking, this is the year, dude. I'm telling you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll
get
here. Back into it. Yeah, you heard it from Josh Potter.
This is the good year to get back into them, though, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think I will. My brother told me the same thing. So me too. And I'm friends with one of the pitchers now.
Oh, dope.
He came to I opened for Theo on the road. And
what's his name? Clevinger.
Clevinger.
Yeah.
So we hung out with him one night, and then I hung out with him in San Diego, and I felt like the coolest guy. He came to my show.
Dude, how psyched would he be to go for? They're like, we're trading you to San Diego. He's like, fucking sick. Let's go.
Yeah, and then he gets injured, which isn't good. I'm sure
he's
bummed, but now he's like getting paid millions of dollars to just be injured. Which
right. I mean, even if he wasn't injured,
cool.
he might have. If he wasn't injured, they might have gone further in the playoffs last season.
Right. Yeah, because they took him out for like 2 innings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He came to my show at ACC. And I had to put him on the guest list, and the whole staff was like, Ari knows Mike Clevinger on the Padres. I felt like the coolest comedian.
That's the sickest
So he's
shit.
sitting in the audience laughing his ass off, and then after we're going out, this is in the middle of COVID, and so we go to a bar, but everything's closed because of COVID, and the owner knew him, and we just had like the whole bar to ourselves.
Oh,
Me,
that's
him,
dope.
and I won't even say who we were with, but it was the dopest night. I was like, man, I'm here with the king of San Diego.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about COVID, obviously, right?
He got in trouble from not the Padres, but the previous team. He went out and partied or something.
That's why he got traded. Him and Prolisek or whatever that guy's name is, the other pitcher that they ended up keeping. But yeah, I mean, and then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna trade me to San Diego? Boo hoo! Like I have to leave fucking dumb Cleveland to go to San Diego.
You have to go to the most beautiful city, the best weather in the world." Talk about failing upwards.
Yeah, right. So it's like, I'm sure he was super bummed out.
And got a dope
Cleveland.
Contract too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like his first big contract.
And he's on a rocket ship.
And on a great team, and on a better
instead
team.
of on a team dismantling itself right now. So that's
Indians
pretty sick.
Fucked up.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Ohio.
Indians. Or whatever you're going to call yourself, the Spiders or some shit.
They're changing, man? Is that a for sure thing?
For sure, yeah.
Man, the PC.
I don't even. It's like another thing where it's just like, why we care about is that fixing the racism? Like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
How many Native Americans What percentage of Native Americans give a fuck about
There are
that?
ones that do.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
how?
like,
What's like 2?
I don't know.
It can't be that many.
It can't be ones that have jobs and care and like trying to put food on their tables, but it's these societies.
First off, how many Native Americans, pure Native Americans, are even left in the world?
I don't know.
It's like
there's a bunch up in where I'm from. There was like a bunch of reservations up where I used to live. So like you'd go to like south to one or north to one just to buy cigarettes because they'd be super cheap, or go get gas or something. But I don't know what that's so true. Like how many people are.
If anything, it raises awareness to, sadly, and I'm not saying that they deserve to be killed off by the white America 200 years ago or whenever that was, but sadly that happened.
Right.
And right now there's very few of them. The ones that are left are on Indian reservations running casinos, and there's all these shitty stereotypes. If anything, the chiefs, the Indians, they bring awareness and history to America and to children coming up.
Yeah,
who are the Indians?
The Chiefs
who are
don't
the
get
chiefs?
any flack, do they? Because it's like a position.
I don't know. What was the football team that changed their name?
The Redskins.
Redskins. Like all those things. Like, are they slightly ancient terms dated terms that are a little offensive? Yeah. But I just think there's more good to them than bad.
I don't even think that I think it's just so innocuous that it's like we could, instead of arguing about these fucking dumb team names, we could be like the NFL putting like end racism in the end zone. Like,
oh my gosh.
Did it do it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to, and I get it. Like, it's nice that they want to like show some sort of symbolism and like side with this movement or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like you're gonna just take it off your helmets and end zone next season, and guess what? There will still be racism.
Yeah.
So like, what was all this performative horse shit all about?
Racism, anyway? Obviously bad. How many racists do you know?
Yeah, I mean,
real
I
racists.
don't.
It's better than it's ever been, and it's getting better each year.
Yeah, but even at the end of the day, if it's not going to be over by putting it in the fucking end zone of a football.
Do you think anyone's going to be like, huh, I never thought about that. You know what? If the NFL is not anti-racism, I'm anti-racism. Like, how many minds did you change?
Exactly. And it's like, all it does is just go to people, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's just kind of like a jarring, and it's not bringing up any more conversations. It's just performative horse shit. Like, if you want to do something to end racism, NFL, like, fucking donate some of your bazillions of dollars to marginalized communities.
Gross, for
you know
real.
What I mean?
Yeah. Take the amount of money you had to buy all those new uniforms and donate it to Black Lives Matter, some charity.
Right. Like take care of the black athletes that you fucking throw to the curb after their careers are over, and they're walking around, they can't remember their own fucking name, and they're putting guns to their fucking heads. You know what I'm saying? Like, take care of those fucking people and show us that those Black Lives Matter before you fucking.
Same thing. It's in girls' Tinder bios. So that's a big.
Is it in there?
That's a big annoyance, pet peeve of mine. You'll see in a girl's Tinder bio, if you're a racist, swipe left. Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of racists looking at your Tinder.
I do hate Chinese.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, not for me.
And because here's the thing: no racist ever thinks they're racist either. By the way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, unless they're straight up in the KKK,
right? Unless they're proud of it. You know what I mean? And they're bragging about. Again, you asked where do you know any of them, and I don't, fortunately, but I know that there are ones out there. Yeah. I don't think that they are.
There's pockets of racism, sure.
And I understand that that's not the clean, cut and dry definition of racism. Like, there's stuff that people can do that there's just like innate in them that can be racist, but it's like I don't consider that ill will. Like, they could be like they'd be like, hey man, like that was this or that, and they could change their ways. It's not like they're intentionally hurting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
So
I always find it funny when it's like it's like, are they going to keep end racism in the end zone forever? Because like, it seems like something that's weird to just get rid of. You know what I mean?
At what point have we beat racism?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I mean. So it's like, you got to keep that in there until you make sure it's over. Otherwise, you're George W. Bush on the fucking battleship with mission accomplished.
Yeah, is racism only over when there's zero racists left on the planet? Because I don't think that's happening.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. So in my mind,
it's a good goal. I don't mind it being a goal. You know what I mean? Like maybe we can make it a goal. I don't know how we're going to accomplish it, but I do know that having those words in the end of the end zone in football isn't going to be the thing that gets us over the top. Yeah.
I'd be curious to know how. I would love to have like a mini documentary made by the NFL of people that they've changed from racist to not racist.
I'd like to see it. Let's do an audit. Yeah. Let's find out. You know, I want to see.
Their marketing team should go out, interview people who go, I was racist, but then I saw the end zone.
I wouldn't say Breonna Taylor's name until I saw it on the back of Richard Sherman's helmet.
We should make a mockumentary of that, of people who are like, listen, I was going down a bad path, and then I was watching the Redskins game, and I realized this isn't okay. The problem with Breonna Taylor, what happened to her,
it awoke me.
Not okay.
Yeah. I just think it's so wild, like those things, and like, you know, all these people want, most of them, black people, I think, you know, judging from what they're saying, and I'm trying to listen, is that they just don't want cops to kill them anymore. And I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think naming a street Black Lives Matter Way or Avenue or something is that. They're just like, no, you don't have to change the street names. Just have the cops stop murdering us. That'd be cool.
Changing the names of, like, that elementary school down there was named, like, Thomas Jefferson something. And they're changing the names.
And they're like, that's cool, thank you, but, like, you know, how about, like, we do the thing we're talking about instead, you know what I mean? Like,
so you moved here 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're working an office job, so you're not, at this point, you are not a working comedian.
I was on the road, like, I did the road back home. I'm just a middle act or whatever.
In Buffalo? Were you still in Buffalo, or were you in New York City? Okay,
no, I was out of Buffalo, and I was just doing
What
clubs.
made you go to L.A. as opposed to New York City, just because New York's so much closer?
Well,
would have been a way easier
I was going
move.
to New York once in a while, and I was doing shows there. I was past at, like, Eastville or something like that, but I wasn't, like...
You weren't killing the game.
I wasn't killing the game, and I was doing the road, which was like paying some money. I was doing fire halls and all that bullshit, and I was working with a bunch of people, but I worked with Tom Segura in like 2013, and then I started doing his dates with him, and then.
But when you opened for him a few times, was it just he wasn't bringing his own openers?
Yeah,
so you
it was
were
just
booked by
random.
the club and you became friends.
Yeah, it was my home club that I worked at all the time. They just passed me to middle from MC. Like I had MC'd for like 2 years.
How does that happen? Just because I've gone on the road with people and feature at these clubs.
Yeah,
I've kind of skipped that step somehow.
Right.
So are you just one day you have a great opening set and they go, hey, you're ready to feature?
Well, it's kind of like I consider it like a sports team actually, almost like. If you have a manager who cares and who gives a shit, they're paying attention to the people, in especially a smaller scene like Buffalo. You only have so many comics. You have a pool of like maybe 30 people. And they're paying attention to seeing who's trying, who's like really like doing it, and they want to like, you know, harvest the scenes. So they then give you work and they want
it benefits them to have good opening acts.
Right, exactly. Cool. So I had been doing it from 2008 to 2012, there was no club in Buffalo. And so I was doing what I could, where I could. There was a couple open mics. I was driving like to Rochester, Erie, PA to do their clubs or whatever, starting to MC at those places. And then when the club opened up in Buffalo, they already knew me and like knew I could MC. Like I was MCing right out of the gate.
They knew you from those other clubs.
Yeah, like
they were comedy
the
fans.
People the woman who was booking it was actually like a former Buffalo like booker or whatever. So
Gotcha.
She knew what I was doing. And so I did the first weekend there, did a bunch of weekends hosting, and then like a year and a half maybe, I guess it was, because it was 2013.
But you're 6 years into comedy at this point.
Yeah. That's when they were like, oh, you can start middling the helium clubs or whatever.
And when this happened, were you like, about damn time, or were you just like, cool?
No, I was like, sweet, because I had filled in here and there. They knew I had the material. I was coming to the open mic. I basically lived there. You know, I was doing guests. Because, like, I was on the radio, so comics would come through and they'd see me and we'd hang out or whatever. And then they'd be like, they'd see me at the club. They're like, do you want to do a guest set? And I'd be like, sure. So the club knew I had, like, enough jokes to do a middle set and stuff like that. So, I had just gotten past, and then it was my first full weekend middling that I worked with Tom. And he was, I think he just was about to have his first Netflix special come out, or it had just come out at the time. So he wasn't like, the Tom he is now, where he's like selling out.
Sure, he was on the ups, but he wasn't a selling out theater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he didn't bring anybody with him, and I was the middle, and I forget who I'm seated or whatever. But, you know, it was I've worked with guys. I won't say any names, but I've worked with guys that like I fucking had the best weekends with, where we're like hanging out, we're partying, we're going to lunch, everything. We give each other numbers, blah blah blah. You know, I'm driving them around, and then like you don't hear from them ever again.
Sure.
Or they like, I've even had one guy in particular who I moved out here. He acts like he doesn't even know who I am. And I'm like, dude, we like hung out for like 4 days. Like, how do you do that to a you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
the first part I get, because sometimes, you know, it's a whole
and
nother
this isn't
world.
even a big comic, by the way. This is like a guy that's like
a low-level headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the part where, like, I've met plenty of people where I just don't talk to them once I leave the city. But it's not like... I just don't think about it because I'm in my own world. It's not like if they text me, it's not like I'm ignoring them. But yeah, when they move here, they're like, "Hey, what's up, man?"
When
then,
you see
then
them,
big time. Then.
And they're like, "What?"
Yeah,
You're
big
like,
time.
"What are you talking about?" But yeah. So I mean, but when I worked with Tom, it wasn't like we had this like magical like friendship immediately. Like it was just like a cool weekend.
Yeah,
we had a good time together or whatever. And then he like DM'd me about another date in Orlando. And at the time, I had never like flown to do comedy. I was just driving like Pennsylvania, you know, Canada a little bit, you know, places around New York State.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck yeah. So I went down there, and then after that, he had me come to another one, and then eventually he goes, you don't have to pay for your travel anymore. And I was
because
like,
he was
oh
making a lot more money.
Well, yeah,
So
because he was like
hooking it up.
starting to sell out.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh my God. And like it was like theaters now.
Yeah.
You know, his own gigs. So like his shit just went skyrocketed. And he had one tour, a theater tour, where he was like, hey man, if you move to LA, I can put you on all the dates for this one tour. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to move then.
Yeah.
So that's why I moved to LA.
Gotcha.
That's
That's incredible. But then, so if you moved to LA,
Yeah.
like a theater act moves to LA, you're obviously stoked.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, it's happening. I'm moving to LA. I'm going on this theater tour.
Yeah.
Shit's crazy. What made you get the office job? It wasn't enough?
Nothing was promised beyond that tour.
One tour, yeah.
So like I knew I had like kind of a deadline, but I knew I was going to make enough money where I could get like my feet planted, and then I'll just get a job, and then I'll just like make my way around LA. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Start to do sets around here, get seen around here a little bit more, and
Yeah,
just see what happens.
I don't.
you know?
Maybe we're just in different circles because
I'm in no circle. That's
I don't
the
see you
problem.
around.
Yeah, like that's the shitty
Was
part.
there any club you went to?
I went to the Improv a lot, and I went
Okay.
to the Comedy Store.
Got it.
But like I never felt like at those, or like what's the word, like comfortable, like just chilling there, because especially the Comedy Store, because I like had it in such
It's a little intimidating.
I like revered it, and I didn't want to like people to be like, this guy's trying to hang out at a place that he's not past or whatever, you know what I mean? So I kind of like wait till I was invited, so to speak. And like Red Band was always cool about that, and like Tony and like those guys were always like, come hang out or come do this show or whatever. So like that made me feel like invited by them, you know? But I wouldn't like just go walk in there and be like, what's
Got it.
up?
And
You know what I'm saying?
And you weren't doing potluck on Mondays or anything
I
like that,
was
or
at first, and then I got that office job, and I went for like 6 months. I signed up for Pollock, and I never got on.
Damn.
But
Cutthroat shit.
I mean, I just never got on it.
It's funny because if you had just said to Tom, "Hey, can you get me on potluck?" You
I
would
would
been on it
never
every
do that. Yeah, I
freaking
know.
week.
But I would never. I would just like.
But you know what the sad part is? It's like I get that mentality because I signed up for the first 6 months I was in LA. I signed up it was twice a week then.
Oh, okay.
And because I moved to here in 2012, and I was going every week, and I saw the politics happening of like, you know, the same few people were making it on potluck each time. They obviously were getting hooked up, and sometimes because it's supposed to be random. But I never wanted to play that game. I was like, one day they're going to pick me random, and it's going to go, you know, I was like, I'm going to let my talent shine. But then after 6 months of signing up twice a week and not getting up, I was like, this shit's
rigged.
This shit's rigged to the bones.
Yeah.
So I ran some shitty bar show, and I just started booking the door guys at the time at the Comedy Store. And lo and behold,
look at that.
I'm moving down the potluck list.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. It's like a weird thing, like going there and having people recognize me from like the podcast or whatever, and then being like not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not pass there, which is totally fine. I totally get why. I'm not like, I'm totally fine with waiting. Like, I always just said, like, it'll happen when it happens, and I'm not like going to sweat it. And even like right before COVID, it's so wild. Like the Improv, I did a show at the Improv where like my agent set it up where like, I just wanted to like see if I could sell, how many tickets I could sell, because I was about to go on the road. And I just want to like test the waters. So I did the lab at the Improv. My agent set it up, and I sold it out.
It's incredible.
And
that's a hard thing to do in LA.
Yeah. And then
like, people don't realize, they go, oh, yeah, you sold out a show. Like LA
and
at a comedy
I
club,
don't live
there's
here. I
so
don't know
many
anybody
comedians
here.
and entertainers.
Yeah, it wasn't like my friends came. I don't have any friends here or family or anything like that. So it was awesome. But like, then I was like, well, how can I just get like a midnight set at the Improv like once in a while? Like, and they were like, oh yeah. But like, I never was passed by them. So I started going to the open mics and putting my name on the thing, and like the door guys and everybody like knew who I was. They're like, you can just get up if you want. And I was like, no, let her, if she wants to put me up, she'll draw me or whatever. Like, let it be the bucket. I forget what it is, but it's like a bucket. And I just would sit there, and sometimes I wouldn't go up, and they'd be like, you sure you don't want to just, and I was like, I do want to go up, but I feel sick inside, like, jumping it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think
like,
you got to jump it.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Here's my point, though.
Yeah, but I like your attitude.
Here's my point. Like, if this open mic set is my make or break to getting past, like, who gives a fuck?
Right.
I sold out the fucking lab. That should have been the make or break. Like, this open mic set, like, I'm not going to just to, like, dance, like, for this.
90% of the people who are passed at the Improv, me included, I did not get passed from the open mic. I was put on a show by a bigger comic, and enough times, did good enough times for the booker's like, oh yeah, Ari's funny, yeah, he should be on the avails list.
I thought just showing my face there would be like proof that's like, hey, I would like to be passed.
Right.
And maybe, I mean, like I said, COVID happened, and maybe I would have been at some point down the road. I got passed at the other improvs before I got passed anywhere else.
Right.
Here, like right when I first moved here, because they're like road clubs, you know what I'm saying? So it was like easier to get passed by that, and I didn't realize that wasn't associated with the Hollywood one.
Right, they're all the same company owns them, but that's
but they're run by the same.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool, I'm in with the, and they kept giving me sets like Brea, Irvine, Ontario. I was like, hey man,
those are more fun anyway. They pay more and you get more time.
Totally, I love
shows are better.
And they're like I said, they're like doing the road. That's why I love them. But like at the same time, I'm like, hey, this one's 2 miles from my house. I think I can get like a midnight set once in a while just to fuck around like during the week. But they're like, oh, that's a different holder. I was like, oh fuck. So then I had to try and figure that out. But yeah, I try not to use Tom for that kind of thing.
No, and I get that. I would
hope just my working with him, like, because I've done some sets at the Comedy Store, like those main room shows, a couple of them, and I remember like Skylar Stone used to do a show there.
Yeah.
And he had Tom on it, and it was right when I moved here. And Tom's like, why don't you come hang out? And I'd never been like backstage of the Comedy Store. I've barely even been to the Comedy Store. I've maybe been there twice or something. And I felt so weird. I'm like, am I allowed to come back here? He's like, yeah. And it's like, it's not a big deal. So like I'm in the back, and like Jamie Kennedy and Steve-O didn't show up.
Uh-huh.
So Skylar in front of me to Tom goes, can he do 5 minutes?
And you're just like, fuck you.
And I was just sitting there like, I'm not going to say anything, but Tom's like, yeah, he opens for me in theaters. And so he's like, okay. And then he like had me do, he said, do 5 to 10. But then he like came up to me right before my set. He's like, actually, they're not here yet. Go till you see the light. And I've never been on stage in the main room.
I love how he goes, can he do 5 to...
Now it's
which
like
is almost like a pro move.
Yeah.
Like you have to be pro to be like, I'm just going to go up there an indefinite amount of time.
Oh, I couldn't. Yeah. That was like the worst. So then I'm like,
and
oh
it's
my
your
God.
first time. You're nervous just being at the Comedy Store, and you're like, so I'm going to go up indefinite? Okay.
And I don't know where the fucking light is.
But you can't say these insecurities because then they're going to take it away.
Yeah, I just nod.
So you just go, yep, no problem. And in your head, you're like, fuck.
Dude, I go out. I'm like throwing heat like in the beginning, like because I'm thinking I'm gonna do 5 minutes. So I'm just like, I'm gonna come out there just fucking like whoop, and then I'm just lost because I was just pulling shit out of the sheath, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I'm supposed to go, so I'm not gonna like do a big dismount here because I don't know when it's gonna fucking end. I'm trying to get.
You're literally up there in indefinite.
Yeah. So it's like I'm just kind of like, and then I get off. Finally, the light comes on. I get off. I look at my thing. I was up there for 20 minutes, and I was like, Jesus Christ,
like. Such the worst scenario to do 20, but so cool that your first time going up is in the main room 20 on like a killer show.
It was amazing. Yeah. It was like it was at the end. It was like very late or whatever, but it's like still amazing. Main room. Yeah, I walked out of there like floating. It was unbelievable. It was, so that was incredible.
When I used to host Comedy Juice a lot.
Yeah.
Have you heard
I've
that
heard
show,
of it,
right?
yeah.
It used to be, when I moved here, Comedy Juice was the show to get on. It was at the Hollywood Improv on Wednesdays, and it was like Tosh would drop in, Aziz, all the just hitters, and it was sold out, packed every weekend. Every comic would go and hang out at the Improv on Wednesday night it was the spot to hang. It was the spot to be seen, and maybe you'll get on the show, blah, blah, blah. So I get on the show, and I'm doing, they have a few shows, so I'm not doing the Hollywood one. I'm doing a different one, and Joe Rogan's on it. And I'm hosting, and they're like, Joe Rogan's running late, so just go up there and, go on until he gets here.
Ugh.
And I'm like a new comedian. I had, let's say 10, 12 minutes. And it was okay, 10 or 12, but that's all I had. So I'm going up there, I run through my 10 or 12, and now I'm doing the B-sides, like jokes that were whatever, or old jokes that were about shit, literally shitting, like just bad, hacky jokes.
Yeah.
Because I'm just buying time. And Joe Rogan comes in, and he's watching me for a few minutes.
Oh.
And I don't even know that, really. I'm just like, okay, so I close on this joke about a girl taking a shit in my bathroom. And then after that, he's really nice. And he comes up to me, and he's like giving me notes and tags and telling me not to do that shit story. And in my head, I want to be like, dude,
normally I wouldn't do it, but
don't do those jokes. It was just like, and he's my hero, especially at the time, new comic. And I was like, ugh.
That's
this is the worst.
Dude, I had right before COVID hit, I was in Vegas with Tom, and Rogan came to one of the shows and just stood on the side and watched me, and I could see him. Yeah, you see his shadow, or you feel his presence. Yeah, and it was and he was so nice afterwards, and it made me almost cry. You know what I mean? It was fucking it's even if you don't, you have to understand the scale, even if you're not a fan of what that means, you know what I'm saying? It's like a god touched your head, you know what I'm saying? It's fucking
weird.
wild.
There's certain people, I'm not a kiss ass type. I'm not a networker. I don't go. It's not like I go there to the comedy store and try and meet certain people. But there's certain people who if they snap their fingers and you, can make all your dreams come true.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I'm living it almost. It's and when I go to the comedy store, other comics do not know me. You know what I mean? I sit there I would like them to know me. I sit there, I drink beer. I've done that. I can't tell you how many times I've sat on the patio and just kind of stared off and smoked a pack of cigarettes and been well, I'm out of cigarettes now, and then I just go home after drinking 10 beers or whatever. You know what I mean? I've just stood there, and I'll run to somebody and you see at open mics or something like that. But yeah, I would run around to mics and stuff when I wasn't getting passed and stuff like that. People are like, you're on your mom's house. Why are you at this open mic under the turnpike?
It's so weird. LA is the most humbling place in the comedy scene.
But I was happy about it. I mean, I don't feel I should be on anything special or whatever. I'm this is what I normally would be doing. You know what I mean? So
right. So when did you get to quit that the office job?
I quit it once the studio started up, and then I could work at the studio. So once Tom was I'm going to start a studio. Do you want to work there? And I was fuck, obviously, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he knew I was working at that job or whatever, and so yeah, I just was all aboard the second that and I quit that job probably 2 months prior than I should have, because I was just so sick of it. Yeah. But I should have probably waited a little bit longer to quit that job.
Well, in retrospect,
yeah,
it worked
no,
out.
It doesn't matter. I knew it would be fine, but it was you look back, you're you could have worked a couple more months there and got a couple extra bucks in your pocket.
Dude, I don't work any shitty job unless I have to.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do anything shitty unless I have to.
I'm not money driven, so if it's not something I want to do, I'm only going to do that if I can't pay the rent that month.
See, that's what's shitty. I'm not money driven in terms of I just want enough to live an adequate adult life, And so far I've yet to hit that mark. I was this year was really going to be, that's why I'm so angry about COVID.
Because you were going to headline more this year?
Yeah, I had a whole tour, and it was fucking booked, and the contracts are there and everything.
Well, just a little delay. It'll still happen.
Yeah, now it's a waiting game, because it's I could go out and do some shows, but it's do I want to blow my load in a place where it's
a half capacity, half money show? No, I say wait. But certain people different.
I get it. I mean, if you want to go out and do it, but like I'm trying to like get this hour going and then like shoot it and stuff, and I don't want to like blow it. You know what I mean? I want people to like see it when it's like, time.
Well,
I waited this long. I might as well. I'm not going to fucking do it in dumb COVID.
I agree. If you're, let's say, because it seems like it's happening, you're going to be touring, headlining a lot. Would you still do the opening shows, or
I would for Tom and stuff if he wanted me to. Yeah, if a headliner that I like loved and respected wanted me to, I would do it 100%. I don't think it diminishes headlining at all in any way, especially if it's in a larger venue than what you're like. If I'm doing clubs and a theater act wants me to open for them, of course I'm going to. Yeah. If a person like, I mean, I would even open for, like a headliner who's like a friend of mine for sure. I wouldn't have any problems with that.
What about if
I wouldn't do it if it was like taking up a weekend where I could be otherwise headlining?
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like, unless it paid more, I mean,
now,
I am money driven in that sense,
Right. What if a club asked you to just do a local feature set or a
I still
hosting
feature,
spot?
yeah.
You'd still do it?
Yeah, I'd still middle at all the improvs around here. In a second, I was about to. I had a date headlining Brea, and I had just middled like back in March, like a month before when it was supposed to. It was supposed to happen in April, and I middled like right in March. I don't mind doing it at all.
Yeah,
I like it. It's middling is cherry. Like it's the fucking.
Sounds like you have zero ego whatsoever.
I don't have any ego. Yeah.
I want to talk to you in like 10 years when you're a theater act and see. If
no, I don't. Dude, it will
changed.
be impossible. No, there's
no chance of getting
because
an ego.
I fucking hate myself. So there's no chance that I'll ever like. I think
people with egos hate themselves even more.
Yeah, but they don't like acknowledge it and they don't stare in the mirror and really like reiterate it to themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like
they're not open about it. They're not comfortable with their feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
They hate themselves so much they can't admit it.
Right. They're overcompensating for the fact that they hate themselves, whereas I am just like digging in, baby. It's my bread and butter. Actually, it's how I've gotten here. It's hating myself. So
humble, hate himself, man. Is there anything in your life that you need help with or advice on?
Everything, dude. I mean, I need to
I
need to grow up, man. Like I've never made over $34,000 in my life.
Really?
In a year.
Tom needs to pay you more at the studio.
Well, it's starting to get better, nowadays. But we'll see. Like every year's getting better nowadays.
You were making. This is just guy who doesn't know you. I assumed you made like $100,000 last year.
What, from doing what though?
Just working at your mom's house.
But I didn't do anything. I was like, the fact that I made any money doing anything or like that I did there is insane to me. You know what I mean?
I just figured, dude, there's enough money floating around. We're like, hey, let's.
Yeah, I mean, there is for me to have a paycheck for literally doing nothing sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking bananas. Like, I get to like consult on a bit or something once in a while, and it's like, but now I have my own show.
I was going to ask you. So, how did your podcast come about? You're obviously friends with Tom. You open for him. You're headlining on your own. You're making appearances on his podcast and the other podcast. Well, one day were they just like, do you want to do a podcast?
It was always like kind of part of the plan when the studio started. It was like, we'll see how it goes. Like, I think he wanted to see like how good I was at podcasting or whatever, and see if I could even do anything in terms of content or what have you. So it was kind of like a kick the tires thing when I first started working there, and then doing like little bits on his show and stuff like that, pop-ins. And then, he did say to me at one point, he's like, down the road we'll get you your own show on here and stuff like that once we expand a little bit. And so back when, I don't remember, it was starting to get talked about like prior to COVID. Where we just couldn't figure out like an angle or maybe have a co-host or something. It was just getting bandied about. And then during COVID, I just said, fuck it. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'll just do it by myself. And like, I don't want to rely on finding a dynamic with somebody, and I'm not going to put a fucking niche on it. We were also trying to figure out, like, is it about something? Is there a theme? Is there
right? And
I was like, fuck that. Like, I'm just going to feel it out. Yeah, and see how it goes. And if people like it, they like it. And if I flame out, I fucking flame out. You know what I mean? So,
do you handle criticism well?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, if people hate me,
because I'm sure you get some haters. Everyone does
all the time. Yeah. And I don't even know. I couldn't tell you what my exact criticisms were, because I try not to like read. Here's the thing that I do. I don't read any of it. Like, if it's good, if someone's like, I love this about what you did or that, I treat it the same way as I treat a shitty comment. Whereas I just go like, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's nice that you think that, but you don't really know what you're talking about. And that's what I feel like everyone's opinions on art is, all in any capacity.
It's all subjective.
So, like, everybody laughing at the shows and stuff like that, they don't fucking know if they're laughing. Like, I know if it's good or not in my
You're
brain.
all sheep.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't
Like,
know.
even for laughing at me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. There's jokes where I'm like, I know why they laugh at that, and they fucking shouldn't. And it makes me, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like
That's
that.
a
but
bad joke, and you guys ate it up.
yeah, exactly.
Dude, my hat, like, everyone has that hacky joke. I look like so-and-so and so-and-so, and I have one of those, and every time I have to do it because someone, for whatever reason, and it kills, I'm just like, you guys suck.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
hate the joke.
Yeah, exactly. So you do shit like that, and it's like, you do a joke where you're just like, well, I knew that would save me, and I feel like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, I don't hate the audience or anything like that, but I just say to myself, like, I love my mom, but she doesn't know fucking what she loves me too, you know what I'm saying? But she doesn't know what she's fucking talking about. She doesn't know anything about fucking show business. She wants me to, you know, I think you're great. Yeah, you don't know what that means, though. So it's like, so I treat positivity the same as negativity, and that's just to...
Sounds healthy.
I mean, I don't know. I don't find myself to be a healthy person, but I...
No, you don't. I mean, you're not unhealthy person, but definitely...
I'm not
You're
like,
not like a positive...
I'm not egotistical, but I'm
Yeah.
also not fucking... you know, I try not to be like, woe is me or anything like that, but...
so you need help growing up.
Yeah, like, I just need help, like, being an adult.
Do you have
like,
a lot of willpower?
No.
That's the hard part for me. I feel like growing up takes a lot of willpower. Like, for example, me, I think I'm been watching way too much porn lately.
Yeah.
And I know the solution. Stop watching porn for a while. Cut down.
Yeah.
But then it's like you need the willpower to do that.
Yeah, my willpower is
I know I
like
eat too much junk food.
lack of motivation, I guess. Like, I don't want to do anything I don't want to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
I just won't
Because
do
you're
it.
like, why?
Yeah, for what?
For what? People are like, you should do this. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but what's going to make me do this?
Yeah. It's, dude, pandemic has really emphasized that whole thing, like, and made it way worse.
Right. I've been waking up at 11 or noon every day. And I know I wake up and I feel kind of like a piece of shit. I'm like, you should wake up at 10 a.m.
At least you're sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'll stay up for 2 days and then I'll sleep for 2 days. Or I'll, like, it's all over the place, man. And I have no structure. And, like, not having comedy, that was, like, the one thing that, like, made me motivated. I'd be like, okay, you're going to get up and get on the subway and go to this fucking mic or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would have the set to motivate me
It's
to do
true.
that. Now I'm like,
There's nothing.
I have to go to Rite Aid and I'm like, nah. I just won't use soap for another day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that bad. It's like fucking,
and you already don't eat.
Yeah, I don't have any reason to go. I go outside. I don't even have the motivation sometimes to go smoke a cigarette.
I don't even know your sexual habits. Sounds like you're watching too much porn, too.
I do watch too much
That's
porn.
why you're lacking motivation to do all these things.
I don't think it's the porn, though.
You're drained. It's the cum drained out of you.
No, see, I feel
Lowers
like
your energy levels.
I agree that that's a thing, but I don't feel
Not
like
for you.
I don't feel like I do over masturbate, but it's like an anxiety thing. It's because
Right.
of the fact that I am that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I had, it's more of an effect than it is a cause, I feel like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sure,
I
maybe
do
it's
know what you mean.
cyclical, but it's like the lack of motivation makes me just get all like, I got to do something, and then I just jerk off because it's like the only thing I can control in that moment. You know what I mean?
That's so funny. I do know what you mean. We got one caller
Ooh.
that I'm going to play. Thank you for reposting that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I wonder if people thought I was like fake.
A lot of people, like, it's crazy. You know, I'm not famous or anything, but I have a few
Is that
thousand.
your cell phone number that you just posted?
No.
okay.
I made a number for the podcast.
Oh, okay,
Google
okay.
Voice.
Nice, okay.
I know I'm not famous or have a large following, but I have a few thousand followers.
Yeah.
That like my comedy or the podcast or whatever. You would think 1% of them would leave a voicemail. People are scared to leave voicemails now because
true.
if I say text in a question for Josh, I'll get 50 questions.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
Working in radio, I watched the downfall as social media started progressing. Our phone banks became less and less.
Yeah.
And it's so wild because people would rather text in or, like you said, like do like an AOL or whatever instant message thing we would have at the time than to speak to a person on the phone.
But it's so much less fun. Like, I think I might switch to just texting in so I have more questions for that segment of the show.
Yeah.
But, man, playing a voicemail is so much more fun to
It
me.
is so much more
I
fun.
wish people would there's a call. If you're out there, Leave
Just
a voicemail
call. It's
into
fun.
the show. Leave
Give it a shot.
advice. You could be anonymous. Put a filter on your voice. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I wonder if they think their numbers are going to get doxed or something.
Or we'll make fun of them or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're only going to make fun of you if you suck.
If you say something dumb.
Yeah, if you're a dildo.
And I don't even know who you are, really.
All right, here we go.
Hey there, this message is for the one and only Josh Potter. I recently got, let me backtrack. My ex-boyfriend gave me syphilis, dumped me, and then moved out of New York City without even telling me that he was moving or that he gave me syphilis. So, I was wondering what advice you have for me and on how to confront this motherfucker and where I should go from here. Thank you, Josh. You bet I'm coming up in May. Piss on me, beat me. I'm home here now.
Nice.
What do you say? He's coming to your show in May?
Oh, no. Those are all your mom's house sayings that he said at the end. They're literally all catchphrases.
I was like, I didn't know what he said.
Man, that is shitty. I mean, like, do gay guys just beat the fuck? Like, if they get in fights, can you have domestic violence when you're a gay guy?
Good question. Yeah, if a man...
Like spousal abuse? Is it spousal abuse if it's man on man?
That's a good question. That's probably a really complicated... That's going to be a very complicated issue as the gays spread their sexuality to others.
Yeah, when you think about it, like, especially with 5G making us more gay, we're going to...
I don't think gays spread their sexuality to others. Relax.
I do think 5G... Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think... but I wonder about that, though, because it's like, if I'm the gentleman in the phone call who had that happen to him, I'd beat the fuck out of my...
Is syphilis...
I can't do that to my girlfriend who does that to me, though.
Is syphilis... Do you have a girlfriend?
No. I'm saying if I had a girlfriend and she were to give me syphilis and then bailed...
Is syphilis lifelong, or is that a temporary
one?
No,
you get rid of syphilis, right? That's like a...
So it's one of the good ones?
Yeah, it's a fine one.
Okay,
He's going to be fine in that regard.
So personally, if he gave you syphilis and then bailed out of town, first off, did he know he gave you syphilis? Was that an intentional thing? Was he like, I have syphilis and I'm going to fuck this guy condom free and ditch out of town? Or maybe he didn't know he had syphilis. Who knows?
You're playing devil's advocate.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I feel like they're related. No matter what, he's an asshole because he ditched town. He ghosted you.
Right.
But really, I mean, besides leaving him an angry voicemail or text, get this guy out of your life. Don't confront him, beat him up. Just move on. This guy sucks. No matter what the situation was, he sucks.
Of course, yeah, you can move on for sure. Like that is the end game of it all, is just to forget about this person. It sucks that you have to endure syphilis for however long.
At least he didn't give you AIDS.
Exactly, or one of her, like, herpes or something.
Yeah,
like
herpes
that lasts forever, like, you know. So, I mean, take care of the syphilis. Try and move on. But like I said, you're a guy and he's a guy. You could also beat the shit out of him if you want to. I think that's legal.
Maybe you run into him at a bar, you smash a bottle over his head and walk out. Who knows?
Yeah, but if you don't want to do that, just the best revenge is to get a hotter piece of ass on the next go around and flaunt it on your Instagram. But I would assume that the syphilis and the leaving were related, because what else was the impetus for him hightailing it out of town other than the fact that he was like, oh fuck, I'm giving people syphilis.
But it was his boyfriend.
I know, but that means it's obvious. See, here's the thing about cheating.
He cheated.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly. That is like, it's
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you're pulling the rug out when you give them an STD.
He cheated on you.
Because it's like, how else did you get this? It's like, I sat on a toilet seat.
Yeah, because to him saying, hey, sorry for giving you syphilis, is him saying, also sorry for cheating.
Yes.
That I did not think of.
And it's like, I mean, is there other ways? I should find this out. Like, I've never been plagued with having an STD, thank the Lord. But knock on wood, yes. No. But I would imagine, and especially not one that I got from cheating on a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'd imagine that's a highly Googled search. Is how could I get syphilis without sex? You know what I mean? Like,
He could have been like, I was sharing tattoo needles. I don't know.
How do you do it?
I don't know how you do it. But
a blood transfusion. I got syphilis.
Hey, there's no real way. No matter what he says, you wouldn't believe him, even if it was true. Even if he genuinely got syphilis from a non-sexual activity, you're not going to believe it.
You wouldn't believe it,
yeah. That does add a complicated, because I was thinking, like, okay, if I gave a girl, for example, I hooked up with this girl a year ago, and she calls me a week later, and she goes, hey, you should get tested for gonorrhea, because I was just tested and it was positive.
Damn.
Yeah, not a call you want to hear. Luckily,
Yeah.
I did not get gonorrhea. But I was appreciative.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't like, why the fuck did you fuck me with gonorrhea? Like, she came at me as like, hey, I'm telling you this. I just found out. I'm sorry, but you should go get tested. And, of course it was like, fuck. But I was like, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to get tested. Hope you're well,
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy's just a coward, really. He should have manned up, texted you, hey, I'm so sorry, or called you, or
Right.
told you.
How in deep were you with that girl?
No, it was not at all. We hooked up twice.
Well, then there you go. See, that's the difference. This guy was confronted with, I have to not only inform my boyfriend that I have syphilis, and now he might, but the reason for that is that I fucked another guy. So it's two conversations that you gotta like. So this guy, he took the old like, I'm just gonna change my name and get the fuck out of town. I don't respect that move, but I can understand it.
I understand it, but yeah, you got him. This is not advice for the caller, but his boyfriend has to man up.
Yeah.
You got to man up. If you cheated on someone and gave them syphilis,
yeah,
you owe them
100%.
I think I gave you syphilis.
You're a piece of shit for not owning it and not manning up. And to the caller person who called in, moving on is the key. Like, it's a tough blow to get syphilis and discover you're cheated on by getting syphilis and then finding out that, whoa, he packed up everything and is gone. Yeah, that's a big blow, but like, eat a pint of ice cream and fucking watch some movies and then the next day go fuck another stranger after your syphilis clears up.
Here's another thought. Maybe get a worse
STD.
A worse STD and find that guy, give it back.
Yeah.
STD, a little tit for tat.
Yeah, revenge STDs.
Not worth it. You don't want to get STDs just for revenge.
We were discussing this one day. If someone were to leak your nudes and you leaked theirs as like a return,
revenge,
is that revenge porn? Because it's revenge porn to leak the nude in the first place. Like if a woman were to smite you,
and then you smited back, that's still revenge porn.
It's still illegal, you think?
I would think so.
It's not self-defense porn?
No, that's got to be illegal. I don't think. Here's the thing. She's not going to press charges because then you press charges.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, my point is, like, if a girl were to, because we were discussing it in terms of like, I have dick pics out there.
Same.
And
not on the internet so
and
far,
I don't care
as far
that.
as I know.
Well, no, I don't have them on the internet, and I don't even care that I can speak freely about them because they were consensually, explicitly asked for, and I verify it. I get a whole fucking, and I said I get a whole reel at least before I send the dick pic.
Or what do you mean, a reel of pictures from them?
Meaning, like, I get like various multimedias from them before I get.
Also,
before they get mine.
Typically, when I send a dick pic, my face isn't in it, so you wouldn't even. I could just be like, I don't know whose dick.
Typically, mine isn't either, but there are a few.
Yeah, okay.
There's a couple out there.
Yeah,
but and again, do not care if they were to leak it on the internet. I'd be like, yeah, that's my dick. I wouldn't care because there wouldn't be any nefarious attachment to it. If they tried to say there was, I would then leak theirs.
Right.
As a like, no. Here's the exchange.
Yeah.
And here's all your nudes, too. Is that self-defense porn or revenge porn?
Oh, so you're saying the reason I'm leaking these is to show the public
that I am not...
this was a consensual exchange of pics.
Yes.
Interesting question.
Yes.
In that case, if it's... Well, you could have blurred them out slightly,
Sure.
You could have blurred them out. So it's probably still technically illegal, but I don't think anything bad would happen from it. I think you'd be cleared. Because really, it's the repercussions from society is what you would be worried about more than going to court and getting charged as whatever. If
my penis showed up on the internet, I'd be like, okay, I guess it's out there.
And how many people are looking that up? Josh Potter nudes.
And if they did, I mean, I'm not like ashamed of my penis, so I don't care. Like, people can roast my penis. This is my face, and I go out in public with it every day. My penis is fine. It's probably the best looking part of my body. So I'm not ashamed of that part of it. The second part is, like, I think I could narrow down, like, who did it then. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not so many out there that I would be like, you know what I mean?
I'm
like,
ashamed to say I've probably sexted with too many
I mean,
women.
Again, here's the thing. Like, there's a good amount.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know the pictures. I could base it off.
You'd be like, oh, I sent that picture to that person.
I'd be like,
you
I
don't
only
recycle.
sent that one.
You don't recycle dick pics?
I do recycle them, but I have them I give them a little bit of a mark.
You put a little watermark in the corner
I do
to track who gets his?
I do, yeah.
Like a Hollywood film, like for piracy? If this dick pic leaks, I will know you leaked it.
I do, yeah. The metadata, everything.
Hilarious.
I know, yeah. Just in case. Because it's not because I care. It's because I want to go, you dumb bitch, why would you leak that?
Okay, so in theory, I love that nerdy thing that you do where you could track each pics, and I would love to do that, but when I'm sending dick pics, I'm horny and basically jerking off most of the time.
You can do it post.
How do you do a post? You already sent it.
You send it because you get the screen grab of it. Like, it's not even a thing. It's
right.
Yeah,
so I see what you're saying. You keep a catalog of that pic and that time so that you can go back to it.
In that context of conversation.
I see what you're saying.
And I have the metadata on the picture where it's like, it was taken at this time of day, at this point. But when I recycle them, I then screenshot them.
So you're ready for if anything bad happens, you're ready to pounce and be like, you did it.
And I'm not worried about anything because I know that these women are very nice and cool and like they were in on it and they wanted it.
I mean... You hope so, and they may seem that way at the time, but some people are crazy.
Some people are crazy, but I really feel like I have a good gauge for, like, have I fucked crazy girls? Of course, but it's like none that are maliciously crazy, I don't think yet. You know what I mean? And yeah, of course, but like, I'm not really...
you have a way more positive outlook.
I do, because here's the thing, like, if a girl really wanted to fuck with me like that... It would really come out that she was a terrible person because I am nothing but a
you're
sweetheart.
A nice guy.
Yeah,
you're a sweetheart.
Like, honestly, like I just...
And I'd like to think the same thing about me, but the thing is, I just don't trust people. Like,
no, sure.
Overall, yes, 90% of people are cool and good people and wouldn't want to fuck you over, but you get that even 1% of people who are just batshit crazy wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And you know what? Fuck Josh Potter. Look, he's making a good living as a comedian now. Screw him. Why isn't he returning my text? Whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean,
people
that's
nuts.
But like, I just feel like it would come out in the wash. Like, it'd just be so easy to be like, no, this is like, here's and then like there would be I think there would be other women that would be like, that's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's really nice. He's really sweet. He's kind of a nerd. Leave him alone.
I had to yell at him for not fucking me one time. You know?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it because I think I have too big of a mouth. Mm-hmm. Like, I've talked about so much fucked up shit that I've done just on my podcast where if they come out, I'll be like, yeah, I talked about that. Like, of course. I just feel like I reveal so much that I could be wrong. I'm sure I'm going to regret this, but I feel like I can't get canceled because I've already canceled myself on my podcast.
Well, that's the thing.
Times.
Anybody who's done a podcast for X amount of hours for however long and just spoke freely in any capacity is, and just, wielding their fucking voice around for hundreds of thousands of people all the time. You're going to say some shit and we're never getting jobs like in show business. You know what I mean? Like, I've resigned myself to that and I don't want any at the moment. I have one in show business that I very much enjoy and I like doing that, and that's fine for now. And I don't need to worry about like E! Entertainment hiring me and then going back through my podcast and being like, how many times did you talk about race? And like, I don't know. Not that I talk about race. I don't know whatever.
Oh, if I
made a black joke or something, you know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, oh boy. But yeah, there's nothing significant that I would give a shit about booking, like where I could get like Shane Gillis. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't.
Well, not that SNL is a goal of mine, but let's say hypothetically speaking, Lauren Michaels is knocking on my door tomorrow. We want you to be on SNL. I would just immediately, I don't even know if this would be sufficient, but before any press release, I would just delete my YouTube and podcast. I don't need it.
I think that's what Shane. I mean, I don't know how it works.
I think he deleted it after
the
actually. I think it was a Patreon episode where he said or something crazy.
Right, so
like
it was
that.
just behind a paywall.
Yeah.
But like, SNL's never been a goal of mine, but it was a dream of mine. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, growing up, I watched every episode. I was like, I loved everyone on it from when I was a little kid all the way through until I was an adult and doing comedy. But when they did that to Shane, it made me realize, like, well, that dream can never come true for you because of just my radio career, even even on terrestrial radio. Some of the shit that I did.
Interesting. What could you have done on terrestrial radio that
you could do all this stuff, dude? Dude, there are bits of me saying like fag and things like that. Like those weren't like FCC words. And
interesting.
Shit. And it was like early 2000s when you could like bandy that about, you know what I mean? Like, and I was doing it in the context of like where I would play in a sketch or something, like a bro-y dude. Like, obviously the man saying it in the sketch or the character saying it in the sketch was a piece of shit. So like, that's the way pieces of shit talk. But like nowadays, even if I did that, that's too much for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What it made me realize when Shane Gillis got kicked off the show is, SNL isn't SNL anymore. Now it's kind of this mainstream.
Well, I really thought they were going to keep
show.
them because I really thought when the Melee came down, I was like, this is perfect for them. Lauren's going to dig into it. They're going to make like a bit out of it. Cold open or something with Bo and Yang.
I thought he was going to apologize and they were going to be like, listen, we're not okay with what he did, but we picked him and we're going to give him another chance or something like that.
It just shows that network TV is fucked, man, because what happened was, like, I'm pretty certain what happened was ads started getting pulled because there was too much of a snowball effect. And once ads start getting pulled, Lorne Michaels becomes even powerless then, I think. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because it's like network then. They're like, this show is still on the air after X amount of years, 50 years, where you have one of the highest budgets in television. They probably have one of the highest budgets, and I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's
you
been
know
a
what
long
I mean?
time.
And it's
they're
like,
all rich from it.
Yeah, and it's a late-night Saturday show that's losing ratings like everything else.
At the end of the day, they're tied like anyone else. It's all about the money.
Right, and maybe there was
money
a day
talks.
where Lorne Michaels could tell him to fuck off because it's still Saturday Night Live, but like today network television is looking for any ads that they can fucking find.
Right, it's already dying.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, I don't know Shane Gillis, but the guy there was like an Asian politician at the time, Andrew Yang, who was like, this guy's horrible. And now they're friends.
Well, no, he forgave him. Like
they hang
all it
out
took was
and
a
do
conversation.
Podcasts. Yeah. They just talked about it. So that's what they should have done.
That's what they should have done. Is
we had a conversation. We talked about it. It was a mistake. He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, I really lost a lot of like. It wasn't like I lost respect for Saturday Night Live. It just bummed me out. It was like, not because my dream is dead forever. Like, I never was going to get on that fucking show. I'm old, you know? But like,
same.
Like, it just made me bummed out that it's like, I put them on such a pedestal and I would defend Saturday Night Live to the fucking teeth. And then they
people
did
would be
this.
Like, this year isn't funny. I'm like, dude, they do a show once a week. In 5 years from now, you're going to think it's funny.
Right. And then, every time, exactly, that always happens.
Yeah, I would always defend the comedy of SNL.
Right. I would always be like, and then think of the parameters in which they work. Like, it's a live show that they have X amount of sets that they have to move this around and costumes and a certain amount of people that have to do this and that. So they're making it. The fact that they have the batting percentage that they have is insane.
Yeah.
But when they did that to Shane, like because Shane is like we weren't like on the same level at all, but it was like always a guy, like when I was middling out of Buffalo Helium, he was out of like Philly Helium, and then he went to New York, and like he was always a guy that was like kind of like just ahead I would always look towards. And then when he got SNL, I was like, that's amazing. Like I was really like psyched. It was like someone that I saw like kind of just ahead, get something really big and like move forward. And I was so pumped for him, and I don't even really know him. And I was just so pumped. And then they took it away, and I was like, fuck Saturday Night Live. Like from then on, dude, I can't even like watch it or anything.
It's hard. It's hard when you know that something's just so not cool, I guess is the word to say anymore. Not cool anymore.
And it really has nothing to do with any actual pain or like racism or anything like that. It has to do with like a snowball effect in the media and the public opinion.
Yeah, the few Twitter trolls.
And
basically.
like those advertisers could have come back. I mean, like it's and do they even really care, or is it just the pressure on them corporately? Like they're
100%.
getting their fucking at handle fucking slammed on Twitter all the time, and they're like, fuck this, I don't want to deal with this.
It's just a mob of people sending an angry email, and they go, all right, we'll just make them. It'd be easier to make them happy than to just
make it go away and like then to deal with it and move forward, which would have been an amazing comedy moment, I feel like.
Yeah, it would have been like, yes, we got to win for comedy, but whatever.
Yeah.
Now the wins for comedy is, hey, you don't like it? Start a podcast. Start your own thing. Everyone is making their awesome
the great
shit.
thing.
The best shit now is all not on TV.
It's kind of like putting one of those parental advisory labels on a CD. Yeah. Back in the 90s when they started doing that, those CDs started selling better than any other CD. Now Shane's like kind of like labeled this bad boy or whatever.
Yeah.
So like he goes out on the road and people want to go see like the guy who got fired from SNL like 3 hours after he got hired by them,
Yeah, that's true. That's the positive way to look at it. I hope he has that positive mentality about
I think
it.
he does, yeah. I think he's got to be, if I'm him, I'm positive because all I ever wanted was to sell tickets on the road. That's all I ever wanted. That's like the most elusive dragon that you could chase in this whole fucking thing, I feel like,
It's the hardest thing, and you see a lot of people now who have TV success who are chasing that. It's interesting to see, like, these people who made it in the industry are now like, well, I just want what Segura has, It's good.
Yeah. It's amazing,
cool.
like, just from doing Your Mom's House frequently, the ability to sell even just like a couple hundred tickets like in a city is insane. And like to understand that there are comics who like have been on Letterman and this and that can't do that, it's like something that I cherish and like am so thankful for, and it's all I've ever wanted. So it's like this weird dichotomy between that and then also being like not at all famous. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this weird thing. Like obviously there are certain people that are more famous, but then they go on the road and they don't sell any tickets. It's a weird thing that happens, and I don't understand it, how it goes one way or the other, but I am just like thankful that anyone buys a ticket to see me in any way. And I hope more people do.
I think they will. You're a nice funny guy. Thank you for doing my podcast.
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me,
you coming in. Anything you want to plug? Do you have any dates or?
I have one date and one date only, sadly, so far is March 21st at the West Palm Improv.
Oh, I love that place.
So cool. Yeah, I'm pumped to do that.
Hot girls in Florida.
First time I've been to Florida since COVID, so I hear it's all open and shit.
Yeah.
They're not even going to know what's going on, so it's going to be fucking wild. I'm going to be like a alien, like walking off the fucking plane, But that's my only date. And then the Josh Potter Show comes out every Tuesday on YouTube on the Your Mom's House YouTube channel.
All right. Thanks again. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
You're listening to
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
There it is. Another episode of Unlicensed Therapy. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to keep talking here. I'm just going to keep using this video diary, this medium of talking to the camera. Today, Chris D'Elia got canceled again. A second cancellation? You think to yourself, oh, he's canceled. Then he starts making a couple posts and, oh, they canceled him again. I'm not even gonna voice my opinion on it, but that's news. I think that's the most unique take. Everyone else is saying their thoughts on it. I'm not gonna say my thoughts on it, but that happened today. That's in the news. Texas uncanceled. Texas they're wide open. No masks. You don't need to wear masks anymore in Texas. They are completely open. That is the move. I wish the whole country was like that. That is badass. Everyone always asks me now, that's the number one question when someone finds out I'm a comedian or I meet someone. You going to move to Texas? You going to move to Austin? No. I'd like to visit, though. I would like to go there. L.A. sucks, I'll tell you that much. It's dirty, riddled with homeless. Comedy is closed. Everyone's freaking out. But I feel like they're freaking out less. Every day is a little more open. Tonight I went out to dinner, and it was in a tent that was half outdoor, half indoor, but went out to dinner with a couple of friends. It was nice. anyways, I guess that's it. But thank you for watching. If you want to join the channel, we now have the paid subscription model down below to join the YouTube channel. I don't know what benefits I'll do, but I'll do them. I'll do something. If I was making money on it, I'll do something extra for you guys if you're paying me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave me a good review on iTunes. Hey, even if you are on Apple Podcasts, it's called. Even if you don't use Apple Podcasts, just go leave me a review there. Hook it up, dude. Hook it up, brother, sister. Hook it up, dog. Hook it up, dog. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Next week we have Chelsea Lynn on the podcast. This is the second week in a row I'm revealing who it is, but I already posted it out. She was coming on my Instagram. And people called in and all that. Finally, for Chelsea Lynn, I was her fans that called in. None of you guys did. Fuck you guys, dude. No, not fuck you guys. But next week, Chelsea Lynn on the show. I may or may not have kissed her on the mouth. Bye.